Alrighty, so I'm continuing with this game, but while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk to you guys about what makes an INFJ fascinating. And let me tell you what's interesting about this. So I sat down to kind of make some bullet points, right, and get my thoughts together about what I think makes them fascinating. And so I wrote my bullet points out with that in mind. And then when I reread it, like I read it back, I was kind of surprised because everything I wrote out kind of sounds like a paradox, you know? So I guess actually the ultimate thing that makes INFJs fascinating is the simple fact that they're pure paradoxes, right? But okay, I didn't mean to even focus on paradoxes. So whatever I'm going to tell you right now, that's not what this is about. This is just about what makes you guys fascinating. Like, damn, right? What's a girl to do? But anyways, let me jump into this list because I don't know. I think there's a couple of things here that for sure I've never touched on that you may find interesting. But let's go. So the first thing I'm going to say is, yes, INFJs are introverted and they're sometimes shy. Okay, sure. They're also, like they say, they're the extroverts or the introverts, right? Something like this. I mean, they can still schmooze, right? But anyways, besides that, even though they're introverted and shy a lot of times, they have really strong personalities. And here's the thing. The INFJ can really just go with the flow, right? They kind of accommodate everybody around them, the ultimate chameleon, right? But aside from chameleoning, is that a word? Okay, aside from being a chameleon, they go with the flow and they tend to just want to make others happy, right? But even though they have that in them, they have really strong personalities, as I said, and they can be stubborn and they can be strong-willed and they have a sort of firmness to them, underneath that soft, cushiony outer layer is a really firm bedrock, right? And I think this is fascinating to people. I mean, I imagine it would be because the way they present on the surface at, first glance or, like first interactions is just a really chill person, and just kind of goes with it and easygoing. But I have some conversations and it'll come out and you'll see it. And I think people find this fascinating because they have like the best of both worlds. It's, you know what it is? It's like, how if you have a dessert, picture like a cookie with drizzled chocolate on it, and then they put the sea salt, right? You know what I mean? I'm getting pumped up now. Okay. Sorry, it's coming out of me. But yeah, they have the sea salt. You follow me? The INFJs have the sea salt. So it's like more yum, 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 right? So I think people find it fascinating and interesting because they're not just a sweet cookie. No, they're not. It's more complex. I talked about this way longer than I anticipated. Okay, next one. Now, INFJs can connect to people so deeply, right? Because, okay, they're not just good listeners. They're such good listeners. But they invest in a person, during that interaction. But yet, at the same time, they're incredibly independent. And this could be fascinating to someone because they can be so into someone in a moment, right? During talking to them. But in the same breath, they can just walk away afterwards, seemingly without a thought, and just carry on, throughout the room and go talk to someone else. And I can imagine that the person would be left sitting there thinking, what just happened? Because they were so invested in me and now they're over there and it's like nothing. It's almost like we were talking about the weather. Like, it doesn't make sense. But it's fascinating too, because then you got to wonder, like, wait a minute. How is this person so here and then not so here? It doesn't make sense. It's not what you find typically out there, is it? No, it's not. Usually, if someone's into you, they're into you. Hardcore, right? Like, there's no variance there. But with an INFJ, there's variance. And I don't mean into you like a crush. I just mean, yeah, showing extra love, showing the investment in what you're talking about. So I don't know. I think that's kind of fascinating. And you know what else? INFJs are incredibly practical. I mean, I've talked about this so many times. The pragmatic facet, right? But they're also so good at letting their imaginations run wild. Oh my gosh, the imagination. It's so good. But it could be so bad too, kinda. But it's like both their feet are so firmly on the ground, right? Like they're so, what's the word I'm looking for? So, I'm lost for words. But they're so strong, but strong isn't the right word I'm looking for. Dependable. They're like the rock, but yet their mind is just allowed to wander. And here's the thing, this is kind of where it's fascinating, because when someone can observe this part of the INFJ, okay, let me put it like this. If I was to actually let myself say what's in my mind and voice out what is happening in my imagination, people would just like it would blow their minds. Okay, like I know I can't do that. Put it like this. It's so rarely that I do that. Okay, I can do it when I'm really comfy with someone, maybe. I'll sprinkle a little bit, But I'm telling you, once you kind of access that part of an INFJ, it's bloody fascinating, because the juxtaposition of it, right? It's like, wait a minute. How are you so steadfast in your everyday life? And there's this whole other world in your mind. And people would never imagine that INFJs have that kind of imagination, or that they even think like that. I think people just think that INFJs think in technical terms, and academically, right? I don't think that they can picture the fact that they just think all wacky crap, Their mind just goes. But anyways, yeah, I'm dragging with that one. But I don't know. I think that's really interesting. Anyways. Okay, next one. INFJs are so sure of themselves, right? But at the same time, they're perfectly comfortable admitting what they don't know. Like they're okay not knowing things, and they're okay saying that. Like if they're not particularly educated on a subject, for example, that's cool. They'll just say it. Like they're not too proud to say that. And it's a really interesting balance, because they have the confidence, but they're also humble, right? And this is fascinating to me, because I don't see this a lot in people out there, because INFJs just tend to walk the line, right, between those two aspects. And as I said, I just don't tend to see that. I don't tend to see someone who can be so smart on one subject, for example, and at the same time just openly admit, yeah, I know nothing about that. Like, that's cool, and just be okay with it. It's like there's no ego almost attached to it in a way too, right? So I don't know, I think that's kind of cool. Okay, this one, yeah, this next one. This is something I've never touched on yet. This is interesting. So an INFJ can be cold as ice, and they can be hot as lava, can't they? Yeah. But this is where it gets interesting, okay? They can be those two things just minutes apart from each other. Yeah, like their feelings can shift so quickly depending on who they're around or what they're dealing with. And they can bounce back faster than you can ever say, like, what's wrong? Boom, they're bounced back. And here's the thing. So they can be like really pissed off and look like they want to kill somebody. And then 2 minutes later, be over somewhere else and they're warm as ever and happy as ever. And I can imagine that for another person, it's almost like a whiplash situation, because it's like, wait a minute, I thought you were freaking out and pissed as ever. How are you like this now? So where the average person would take maybe a couple days to calm down, regroup, get themselves together, right? No, the INFJ does this in record time, way faster. We're quite nimble like that. I think we're so used to processing our emotions that the processor just runs faster. I don't know if that's what it is. But here's the thing of it all, actually, guys, that I think this is also why a lot of people would be quick to wonder, like, wait a minute, were they actually feeling that? Like, were they actually that upset? Because it almost looks like, what, like we were just crying wolf? I don't know, right? Because how the hell can we get over something so quickly like that? Or at least look like we're over it, right? Because here's the thing. Even though we've moved on the surface, those things don't just disappear in our minds. Like, they're still in there. They're bouncing around in there, right? But to the outside world, I mean, the beat goes on and we carry on with life. We just adapt quick and dirty, right? So I think people question if our feelings were even necessary that strong about something. And spoiler alert, yeah, they were. Whatever we said, we meant, yeah, and we felt it. We felt it hard. We probably still feel it. It's buried back there. And we'll access it another time when we're ready for it. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. But my last point to make, INFJs know a lot about a lot of different things. Yeah, like they kind of dabble, right? And everyone talks to them. Everyone spills out everything because they're great listeners. So they just kind of pick up bits and pieces of information on so many different topics, right? Because they're curious cats, right? So they're into it. But they actually only care about a few things. Like, it looks like they really care about topics when they're talking to you, but actually, no, they don't. They only care about a few things. They only care about learning about something in the moment. That's what you're seeing, okay? And what's fascinating is this also translates to people. Yes, and relationships. I know it doesn't sound good, but I'm keeping it real here. They will give their love to a lot of people, be nice to a lot of people with their warmth, but actually, they only truly care for a select few people. Sounds pretty cutthroat, right? Like, only a select few people actually touch their hearts. Yeah, so they can give out nice emotions to everybody, but the question of who imprints on them is a different matter altogether. Absolutely. And there's very few people in the world who truly own real estate on their heart. There you go. You know how you could buy a star in the sky? Yeah, that's how it is. Only very few people get that certificate of, here you go. You bought a little piece of my heart, Yeah. But they look like, come everybody, everyone's welcome, open doors. But it's not that they're disingenuous. They really do feel the warmth. They really do feel, that love to give to people. But I don't know, guys. It's not what it seems. But anyways, that's that. So how you guys doing, huh? It looks like it's going to be checkmate here. Dun, 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 dun. And I'll see you guys in another video, I guess. Okay? So have a good day. Take it easy.